You ever have one of those moments where you realize the people supposed to keep you safe are the ones you've really got to watch out for? Yeah, that happened. And it started the night a woman with a perfect manicure and a master key walked straight into my son's bedroom like she owned the place, didn't even bother to knock. You know what I mean? That's when it all changed, because in Willamere Lakes, things looked just a little too perfect, and that kind of order, somebody's always forcing it. So there I was, standing across the clubhouse from Colleen Dewitt, the HOA president, listening to her smooth little explanation about protocols and security walkthroughs, like we were discussing a new yoga class instead of a full-on invasion of privacy. She didn't even blink. But I wasn't there for her fake smile. I was there because the system I built with my own hands logged every keystroke, every override, every single second she spent inside my house. She'd walked right past the little "Do Not Disturb" sign my son painted, straight into his safe space. Didn't matter that she claimed it was just a walkthrough, or that she didn't enter the whole house. She went exactly where she shouldn't. You want to know what it feels like when your kid, your only kid, calls you whispering, terrified, because someone's inside and you're an hour away on a work contract? That cold sweat, that helpless anger. Man, there's nothing like it. Noah's 15, and he's tougher than most grown men I know, but after everything that happened to us before, after the home invasion back in Arlington, the only reason we moved here was to start over, somewhere quiet, somewhere safe. But all that security, all that structure, it was just a story we told ourselves, and Colleen shattered it with one twist of a key. The whole thing was caught on our cameras, custom firmware, thermal pings, cloud backup to a server I control, not some off-the-shelf system. She didn't knock, didn't announce herself, just walked right in, humming as she passed my living room, made a beeline for Noah's door. He was in the shower, came out and found her flipping through his sketchpad like she was shopping for groceries. That's the moment I stopped being a neighbor and became a father with nothing left to lose. Because for Noah, that room wasn't just four walls and a bed, it was armor. And she walked right through it. Did I sleep that night? Not really. I rotated through the footage, the encryption logs, checked and double-checked that nothing was tampered with. Noah shoved a chair under his door before he finally fell asleep. Next morning, I started with the neighbors. Most just offered tight little smiles. Oh, Colleen's just looking out for the community, but there was something in their eyes, like they were afraid to say more. Complicit or just tired? Hard to say. You see, when a place runs on quiet invasions, people stop fighting. They just adapt. But then I ran into Jill Monroe at the dog park. She had her old shepherd, Murphy, and that morning she looked more anxious than usual. Jill leaned in, lowered her voice, and told me she's done it before. Walked right into my place while my niece was staying over. Said it was a wellness check. You catch that? No warning, just logged it after, claimed some emergency. Discretion buried in Article 12. She reported it, of course. Nothing happened. They always bury it in policy. That was my first crack in the wall. Later, I cornered the board during one of their so-called informal meetings. Colleen tried to keep the key log private, but I'd already filed a formal report, cameras synced up with the entry. She took the papers with stiff fingers, said nothing. Meanwhile, the janitor, Miles, avoided my eyes, but his posture screamed regret. And wouldn't you know it, next day I get not one, but two violation letters from the HOA. Cameras pointed too close to the walkway, security system might disrupt community harmony. Both signed by Colleen. Classic move. Bury the real problem in paperwork, hope you give up. But here's the thing, I don't bury easy. I started documenting everything and asking questions nobody wanted to answer. Harris, another dad from Noah's school, finally broke. She's not what she pretends to be, he told me. Then disappeared back into his house. This wasn't an isolated thing. It was a pattern. And Miles, the janitor? One evening as the sun dropped behind the lake, he finally talked. She'd told him to unlock a closet for an HVAC inspection, never mentioned entering my house, never said Noah was home. People who question things around here don't last, he muttered, staring at his shoes. But when I pressed, he said, didn't like the way she looked when she came out. Didn't say a word. Just left. That landed heavy. I started cross-referencing every entry she'd made. Every so-called inspection. And wouldn't you know it, her override tags popped up in the logs like breadcrumbs. The override logs, The footage, resident complaints, none of the other homeowners had. Hard proof. Most of them used those cheap, HOA-approved doorbell cams that wiped the footage after 24 hours. She built the rules to keep people blind, but I wasn't. And then, twist, Noah admitted this. Wasn't the first time. He remembered the same perfume, same creak of the floor, way back when I'd been away on a trip. I thought maybe it was maintenance, he told me, eyes glued to his sketchbook. But I was scared to say anything. That was the gut punch. She'd done this before. How many other kids? How many doors opened under the same excuse? You see how this story builds, right? It's not just about a single violation. It's about people who get drunk on power, who rewrite the rules every time you push back. It's about a community that looks away because it's easier to let someone else handle the fight. But once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. The final straw came in the form of a flyer slipped under my porch camera, warning residents not to spread misinformation, calling the logs incomplete, the footage illegal. She was trying to stir up fear, not just in me, but in everyone. I wasn't having it. That night, I brought the whole case, footage, logs, timestamps, to a handful of neighbors. Played the video. Didn't say a word. Let the silence do the work. When the board finally called a special session in the community hall, the place was packed, standing room only. Colleen tried her best to spin it. 20 minutes of legalese, threats, and guilt trips. But when I rolled the footage, her entering homes, the log overlays, the clip of her muttering about stupid kid, the air changed. The spell was broken. Residents started speaking up, one by one. She fined me twice, walked into my garden without warning. She opened my garage, my kid was inside. No one defended her. Not this time. The vote wasn't even close. Marcus read it aloud, voice steady. 82 in favor, 4 opposed. Colleen was suspended. Effective immediately. She didn't protest, didn't shout, just gathered her things and walked out, the lock clicking behind her. No apology, just the final act of control slipping away. The next day, the neighborhood was quiet. No more violations, no more emergency reviews, just sunlight on lawns and Noah painting the word protected in gold on his sign. For the first time in months, I felt like maybe, just maybe, we could actually stay. But here's the thing. That fight, it isn't really over. The board's rewriting the key access rules, outside legal counsels involved. Colleen's lawyering up, and my evidence is now in the hands of journalists, lawyers, advocacy groups. It's bigger than us now, and maybe that's what it needed to be. So, let me ask you, where do you draw the line between community safety and personal privacy? Who gets to decide what's for your own good? And who watches the ones with the keys? Drop your take in the comments. Hit subscribe if you want more stories of homeowners standing up to the power grabbers. Because sometimes, the loudest fights don't start with a scream. They start with a locked door and someone who refuses to let it slide.